All right, BradCooney.com would like to welcome to the show a man of many titles, former congressman, former presidential candidate, current author and podcast host, Mr. Joe Walsh. Honored to have you on board.
Hey, Brad, I mean it, man. It's I appreciate the invitation. It's great to chat with you.
Well, the sentiments are definitely right back at you. I've been watching you for a while since you basically, I know you're a congressman. When you ran for president is when you got on a lot of maps. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
So before we get into the real nuts and bolts of things that's going on right now, just kind of bring my listeners up a little bit about, like, when you decided you wanted to run for president, at that point, did you see that Trump was going to be, honestly, frankly, in my opinion, just a nut? Did you really get it at that point how crazy this guy was going to turn out to be?
Yeah, I realized, Brad, how crazy he was after he got elected. I voted for him in 2016.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't love him or like him. I just figured he's a goof who will play a lot of golf, and maybe he'll hire a few good people and things will be fine. Bad on me. I fucked up. I didn't realize when he got elected, I didn't pay enough attention to him to know that he was such a bad guy. So after he got elected, I'm on Fox News every day. I'm on the radio all around the country, and every day I'm paying attention to him, and I'm just saying to myself, this guy's terrible. He lies all the time, and he doesn't seem to really care about anybody but himself. So it went pretty south for me right after he got elected.
For me, it was about a year. And the thing is about Trump, like the dude's it's unbelievable. I mean, he's such a con man. But when he decided he was going to run, he told everybody exactly what they wanted to hear. And he rode that wave. He rode that wave because, the Republicans, everyone was getting kind of tired of the rhino type thing. So here he comes. He tells everybody wants what they want to hear. I'm going to drain the swamp. I'm going to fund my own campaign. I'm going to donate the checks. And he just kind of just reeled everybody in. And I was one of them. You know what I mean? I was one of them. I was the one I was loving what I was hearing. But about a year into it, the red flags started coming up for me.
Well, and Brad, I got it because, the same people who voted for Trump voted for me. They were my followers, like they were Trump's followers. And you're right. I wasn't a rhino Republican. I wasn't Republican establishment. I was a crazy Tea Party guy.
Right.
So I understood how pissed off most Republicans and most voters were, and we needed some disruption. I wanted a disruptor. The problem is there are good disruptors and bad disruptors. He's a bad disruptor.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so in your opinion, Joe, this is really crazy. Like the powers that be in the GOP, like Mitch McConnell, of course McCarthy, and you got your Ted Cruz's, you got your Lindsey Grahams. These people are unbelievably. They're just cowards, in my opinion. They fold like chairs. Why do you believe they've enabled this guy, Donald Trump, to ruin the party? Because the Republican Party is destroyed. It's over with. I mean, as we used to know, it's done. Yeah. What do you think's going on here? Why did these people fold like chairs and enable this guy to actually run again? They had the opportunity. They could have convicted when he was impeached, but they just folded. What is your opinion on that?
Well, it's funny, Brad. The one thing Trump really got right was he recognized at the beginning how weak and cowardly the Republican Party was, because they folded like in a nanosecond when he came on the scene. But look, I get it, because I publicly came out against Trump 5 years ago. I lost everything. I took a blowtorch to my career.
Yeah.
I lost my radio show. I lost any chance of getting reelected as a Republican again. And these guys don't want to do that. I mean, they love their career. They love the power. They like the money and all of that. So if you publicly come out against him, you're going to lose all of that. A lot of them told me privately, Brad, over the last few years that, Joe, I like what you're saying publicly. I can't say it publicly, but I'm just waiting for the Trump storm to blow over. They always thought that Trump would just blow over after a few years, so they kept their mouth shut.
Yeah, and there's some signs. I don't want to get too excited here. There are some signs where obviously when he just now he made the big announcement he's running, but it came out flat, Joe. I mean, it came out flat. Nothing like his first announcement that he was running. He doesn't even have a campaign manager that I know of. Is this just a grifting type thing? Is he just doing this to raise money, do you think? I mean, because where's his campaign? What is he doing right now?
Yeah, some people think that he just announced to make money, and he just announced to sort of hold off an indictment. I still don't believe that. I believe he's going to start campaigning pretty energetically once the new year starts. And look, here's what I know. He still holds a spell over 35 to 40% of the party. The base is still generally with him. Guys like McConnell and McCarthy, they're followers. They don't matter. These guys don't matter. What matters is the base of the party. And if the base of the party sticks with him and he really wants to get the nomination again, he's going to get it, because I can't see anybody beating him.
Not even a Ron DeSantis? What are Ron's chances?
I know DeSantis. I know him pretty well. He ain't Trump. He's got zero charisma. And here's the thing about DeSantis. The people supporting DeSantis don't know him really yet, but they're supporting him because they think he's like Trump. And you probably hear the same thing I hear. They like Trump. They just don't think Trump can win, so maybe DeSantis can win. That's kind of what DeSantis has going for him right now. But again, if Trump is into it and he really wants to do it, once he starts to go after DeSantis isn't really going to know how to respond to that.
Yeah. Much as I hate to admit it, Trump just carved through the primaries when he first ran. I mean, you had like Jeb Bush and Rubio. Those guys got slaughtered, man. It was ugly to watch.
Because I got to watch my language, but they're wussies.
Yeah.
There's, and again, I didn't come from that part of the party. They didn't like me because I wasn't establishment. And the other thing is, Trump has no shame. None. Most normal human beings have shame. They feel bad when they do or say something wrong. Trump doesn't have that. And that's an amazing power, because he can do and say anything.
It's really scary when you look at the GOP. Liz Cheney, who I really admire, and Adam Kinzinger too. But Liz Cheney, what's crazy is like a lot of my friends and family, they're like, some of them are real big Trump supporters, and I try to get through to some of them, and it's really a shame because I've actually lost a few family members over this whole Trump thing. Not by my choosing. They're just so in the tank for Trump, they don't want to hear what I have to say at all. But the thing about Liz Cheney is she was one of the most conservative voters that they had. And they just threw her, they just tied a ball and chain around her neck and threw her overboard once she came out going against Trump. It was just unbelievable to see that happen.
Before Trump, you were either a conservative or a rhino based on where you stood on the issues. And I was a real strong conservative. Liz Cheney was a real strong conservative. But then once Trump came along, it didn't matter where you stood on the issues. It was just, where do you stand on Trump? And so Cheney, Liz, and Adam Kinzinger, like me, they have no chance to get reelected in this party right now. Again, because of where they are on the issues. They've just publicly opposed Trump. And I think for a while, Brad, I don't think it's changing for a while, if it ever does.
Yeah, and this is why I admire you and Adam Kinzinger's and Liz Cheney's. You guys put the country before party. And for me, I'm a U.S. veteran. Serve the country, man. Risked it all for this land I love and the Constitution. So when I see people just put the country first, I have nothing but respect, man.
Well, let's say this, Brad. I appreciate what you said, but if I were with you right now, I'd slap you upside the head, because you serve this country, and you, in my mind, are a hero. In the political world, what I did and Kinzinger and Cheney did is a really big deal, because most politicians have zero courage.
Right.
And all they care about is advancing their own career, period.
Well, I appreciate you saying that, but I look at you guys, I have a lot of respect for what you guys did. It means a lot, man. I mean, yeah, of course, military, the vets, the active veterans do a huge thing, but it doesn't mean you guys didn't. You know what I mean? We had to have somebody fighting for the right thing here. As far as so let's talk about the January 6th committee. I watched every minute of that thing, every one of them. I thought they really did a great job. They put a remarkable display of the corruption that was going on, and they brought receipts, and they brought receipts hard. What do you think? Do you think, first of all, the easy question is, do you think he's going to get indicted? What are your thoughts on the January committee, on their performance? And on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being no indictment and 10 definitely going to get indicted, where are you on that scale?
I'm no expert, but I think 9 to 10 he gets indicted. And he may get indicted more than once. And the weird thing is, when that happens, it may not hurt him for the Republican primary. It would hurt him in a general election. I don't think Trump could ever get elected president again. But when he's indicted, and I think he will be, I still think a sizable part of the Republican base is going to rally around him. I give all the credit in the world to the January 6th committee, because they did their job. 35 to 40% of the country didn't pay attention to it because they don't care, because they think the deep state has been after Trump from the beginning. But the rest of the country followed Jan 6 committee, and they made a difference.
Yeah, 100%. What do you think and again, this is just, we're going to speculate here, but if he is indicted, where are you with a conviction? Do you think he'll be convicted? And if so, what do you think the repercussions will be as far as possible violence on the streets?
I doubt he'll be convicted. And what's weird about that is, if you're the Justice Department, you generally only indict him if you think there's a damn good shot at a conviction.
Yep.
I just think it's going to be really hard to find a jury to convict the former president. I wouldn't be surprised if he was pardoned. I wouldn't be surprised if some deal was cut. I would always be surprised if Trump ever ends up in jail. I guarantee you, if he's indicted, and I think he will be, look, I think we're on a path right now where political violence is going to continue to increase no matter what.
Yeah. Wow. I had somebody said something to me the other day that initially I was like, what are you, freaking crazy? But what do you think of a Joe Biden? You might think this is crazy. Let's just say he is indicted, he gets convicted, which we don't. I'm in agreement. I don't think he will be convicted per se. But what if he was and Joe Biden actually pardoned him? Would that be a move that would actually maybe bridge a gap here and maybe finally get a little bit of some kind of bipartisan, just some kind of peace? The country really needs to heal. I mean, this country is the most divided I've ever seen it right now.
It is. And I hear what you're saying, and if Biden did something like that, that's why he would do it. But I think it would backfire, and I think it would be a big mistake.
Yeah.
Look, Brad, if he's indicted, say, for anything January 6th related, I mean, think about it. For the first time in American history, a sitting American president lost, refused to accept the loss, refused to participate in the peaceful transfer of power, and then tried to overturn the election. Now, if all of that is there, and he's convicted, and then Biden or a president pardoned him, I think most of the country would go crazy because it's like Trump's above the law.
Yeah, that's a great point. That's a great
It's really
point.
dangerous.
That's a great point. Absolutely. It's just I'm just looking at my notes here. I'm just really dumbfounded about this whole journey since Trump
Well,
was in there.
yeah. I mean, Brad, think about this. I mean, you and I aren't kids. I'm not 30 years old anymore.
Right.
You and I have never seen something like this. And hopefully we never will. And I got to be honest with you. I'm a dark Irishman. I'm in the fight every day. It's exhausting. But look, I don't think things are going to get better. And if you ask me, this thing we call the American experiment, is it going to last? Is America kind of going to survive as a united country? I got to be honest, Brad, I don't know, and I'm worried that it won't.
I have the same worry. And we have people like Marjorie Greene, just absolute batshit freaking crazy, getting elected and reelected. And then the other one, the Lake, Carrie Lake. I mean, what a nut she is. Thank God Arizona, handled that, the people. But that's a scary thing. These people are getting closer and closer to getting elected. Like Marjorie Greene did get elected. I'm like you. It's like, is this democracy? Like, is it in, like, legit real danger? I mean, it's a real fair question at this point.
Well, we got two major political parties. One of the parties is now like fully off the rails. I'm not a Democrat, and I disagree with the Democrats on most issues.
I do too.
But I disagree with them on issues, Brad. I think the Republicans are like a threat to our democracy. That's like a whole other level.
Yep.
And I don't think most people fully understand that yet.
I get a lot of people coming at me. They're thinking it's like they knee-jerk react. They think, oh, so you don't like Trump, so they just jump right to the he must be a liberal card to me.
Right.
Yeah, I've been a Republican voter for freaking 40 years, or close to it.
Yeah.
Now I did vote for Bill Clinton. I will say that. So I'm not right down party line guy, but pretty much I'm conservative. I'm definitely center right for sure. And so when people make these leaps, like, oh my God, you must be a liberal if you don't like Trump. It's not true. I don't like a lot of Joe Biden's policies, but I would rather have somebody who's not trying to take the freaking country over like a dictator. You know what I mean?
Exactly, because you and I have been around long enough. We understand what has always made this country so special.
Yep.
And I've run for office and I've won and lost. But when the election's over, there's a winner and a loser. And what makes America so fucking special is the loser concedes.
Yep.
And the loser congratulates the winner. And there's that thing where power is transferred peacefully. That was broken 2 years ago, all because of him.
It's unbelievable. And I'm not happy with Mike Pence either, because this guy's he's trying to play both sides here. This guy got thrown underneath the bus. I mean, he was a very loyal vice president to Trump. And then Trump throws him under the bus and tries to get him to violate the Constitution by not certifying the electorals. And Pence is out there defending this guy still sometimes.
So I know Pence well. We served together in Congress. I've always liked him. He's a nice, decent man. But Brad, he made a deal with the devil. He didn't like Trump from the beginning. He doesn't believe Trump is fit. But Mike Pence said, okay, I'll make this deal. I'll become his vice president because I want to be president one day. And how ironic, Pence will never become president. Because he got too close to Trump, and then he did what he had to do, which was follow the Constitution and certify the victory, Biden's victory.
Yeah, anybody who gets too close to him, it doesn't bode well for anybody too close to Trump. If you could just look at the wake of wreckage. I mean, you have so many people. You have indictments, and Bannon was going to jail, and what was his campaign manager? The guy that got wrapped up in embezzlement. What's his name?
God, there are so many of them. Yeah, he ended up in prison for a while.
Yeah, he went to jail.
Convictions.
I forgot his name. I'm just drawing a blank on his name, but yeah.
I'm drawing a blank too. It was like Rick Wilson, the Lincoln Project guy. You know, remember he wrote the book a few years ago. Everything Trump touches dies.
Yeah, it's true. I don't know how busy you are. I got a few more questions for you before I let you go.
Sure, man.
All right, we already touched on DeSantis, and you're pretty sure Biden's going to run again in 2024. How are you feeling about that?
Not super sure, but I'm pretty sure he will. I think the odds are 85%, 80% he will.
What about other indictments? Meadows, some of these people beneath Trump. You think they get convicted?
I think Meadows is in real trouble. I think there are 2 or 3 people around Trump, especially Meadows, who could be facing the same kind of consequences Trump is. Yeah.
And the attorney also, I think, I'm drawing a blank on his name too, but I think he flipped, and I think he's going to do a little time though, possibly.
Yeah, that's one thing. That's one thing that's interesting, Brad. We don't know completely who has flipped and is talking to the Justice Department right now. There are people who think Mark Meadows is already talking to the Justice Department. Hard to tell.
If I had to put a guess on it, on a 1 to 10, I'm an 8.5 to a 9 on Meadows singing like a chickadee bird.
I would think so, because otherwise he's in real trouble.
Seriously, all those text messages, and all this, yeah, and then even.
But Brad, that's what's so disappointing. So much of it's disappointing to me, but like I served with all these guys. Jim Jordan and I were like best friends.
Yeah.
And you read these text messages, and Jordan and all these members of Congress pressuring Meadows to overthrow the election. They were all like trying to do it.
And how did they think that they were going to get away with this? Don't they understand? These people are smart people as far as IQ. Did they really think that this was just going to be not discovered at some point, and they have all these evidence, all these receipts, all these text messages, and they didn't think that was going to get subpoenaed at some point? What a crazy thing to do.
I think a lot of them really thought had a chance to overthrow the election. I think a lot of them thought because of COVID and so many people, especially older people, voted by mail. I think a lot of these Republicans thought that the rules were changed and a lot of funny stuff went on. And they really thought some of these Republican state legislatures would decide to nullify the election results in their states. It's just crazy.
It's insane, man. And the whole world's watching this too. All right, a few more things off of that. I'm just interested in your thoughts on a couple more things.
Yeah.
And again, thanks for doing this. I'm really honored to have you on the show. It's
Shut up. If you say that one more time, I'll slap you upside the head.
Hey, it's true.
I'm honored to be with you, brother.
Well, it's a two-way street. What happened to Tulsi Gabbard? What's going on with Tulsi Gabbard? That's like she flipped like you did, only the other way, as far as how she sees things. It looks like
Brad. That sure smells like a fucking grift.
Yeah, it's got to be.
Because here's the thing, like I went the other way. I went against my self-interest and lost, but I didn't go all the way and become a Democrat.
Right.
She went all the way over and became MAGA. You can't do that unless it's a grift.
It has to be. For crying out loud, she's subbing for freaking Tucker Carlson.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. All right, what about the Ukraine war with Russia? I'm interested on this. I'm a big supporter. I think we need to try to help Ukraine. We are sending a lot of money over there. I get it, a lot of equipment and things. But what are your thoughts on President Zelensky and the U.S. support for Ukraine?
Well, and look, I have a history here in that I'm not like a neocon. I'm not one of these guys who was in Congress who wants America to be the world's policeman, and I want America to be involved in all these wars around the world. I'm almost the opposite of that. But in a case like this, where you have Russia invading a sovereign nation, if Ukraine were a NATO country, We would have had to have defended them. They're right on the doorstep of being a NATO country. I never, from the beginning, I didn't want to send American troops there.
Right.
But everything we can do to defeat Russia, to help Ukraine defeat Russia, we should do. And I get a little pissed off because, like Brad, I'm a border hawk. I think we need to defend our southern border.
Oh, for sure. Me too.
And all these Republicans who say we shouldn't be helping Ukraine, we should be defending the border, bullshit. We can do both. We can do both.
We can do both. And what did the Republicans do for the border, really? Honestly, if you look at the numbers.
Nothing.
Exactly.
Nothing.
Not a damn thing. I mean, a lot of the Trump supporters think so, but I promise you,
Well, Trump lies about it. Trump lies and says he built this big wall. He hardly built any new wall.
There's a little shitty fence and not even all the way across, and Mexico damn sure didn't pay for it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
All right, last thing I got for you, and again, I know you're busy, so I'm going to let you out of here in just a second.
You got it, man.
I want to talk about your book. Everybody out there listening needs to get the book. The freaking title for it is epic. Fuck Silence, calling Trump out for the cultist, moronic, authoritarian con man he is. I got some snippets in. I haven't read the whole thing yet, but tell everybody out there about this book and where they can get it.
Well, first of all, Brett, I apologize for the title because it's a little strong.
I love it.
They can go. They can go to Amazon, any place where they order books. It's called F Silence, calling Trump out for the authoritarian cultist con man he is. Look, I've been very honest publicly. I helped to kind of usher in Trump because when I was a Tea Party guy in Congress and on the radio, I helped rile up Republican voters and piss them off a little too much so that they were primed for Trump. I wanted to write a book that kind of explained why I turned on him and what I did to help lead to Trump because I think it's really important to be honest.
Yeah, man. I miss Ronald Reagan. Ronald Reagan was my commander-in-chief when I was in the Navy. I'm so proud to say that. I miss Ronald Reagan. I wish we can get somebody half as good as Ronald Reagan as a Republican, and I'm back on board with the Republican Party. But as the Republican Party sits right now, I don't want nothing to do with it. And I'm like you. I'm not a Democrat. I'm not like jumping all over, Joe Biden, and I'm just like pushed from the table right now, looking at this mess, like hoping somebody can come rescue it.
I don't think it's happening in your and my lifetime. I think you and I will probably be politically homeless for a while.
Jesus, man. All right, last thing I got. Talk about your podcast show.
So, again, it's called White Flag with Joe Walsh. You and I have talked. I was really divisive, so I'm trying to do something about that. Every week I sit down with somebody who disagrees with me, another high-profile guy, and we spend an hour trying to have respectful conversation about issues we disagree with, just to show people that you can actually talk to people you disagree with and not shoot them and kill them, and you can try to find some common ground. So, White Flag with Joe Walsh, anywhere you listen to podcasts.
All right, tell everybody out there where they can follow you on social media, and if you have a website, the mic is yours.
You and I are going to tweet till the lights go out, Brad. You can follow me on Twitter at Walsh Freedom. Thank you, my friend.
Joe, honored to have you on board. I know you're going to slap me in the head when we meet one day, but it truly has been. I appreciate you doing this and hoping that get you back on sometime.
Stay in touch, my friend. Thanks, Brad.
Thank you, Joe. Take care.
You got it.